This video was made to share step by step the projects shown in the image. I hope this guide will help other people about developing a water effect using inexpensive and easy to obtain materials. I will try to explain in detail the way the base was made. The model is the PT Boat 109 by Revell. List of materials and tools: 1-inch thick insulation foam board, sheetrock joint compound, metal taping knife, clear silicone with UV protection, gloss Mod Podge, cotton balls, a flexible piece of plastic from packaging, acrylic paint in the following colors: navy blue, bright blue, aquamarine, Bahama blue, white, Createx transparent blue, a cutting knife or X-Acto, toothpicks, wood sticks, plastic spoons, scissors, brushes, masking tape, instant glue, plastic cups to mix the paint, gloss polyurethane with UV protection to seal the base. Procedure: the first step was to measure the kit and decide the size of the base. The foam board was cut to size. Since the idea was to have the boat turning left and with the front jumping out of the water, I needed some kind of support to achieve that position. Using the knife, I cut a piece of foam to hold the boat up and help make the boat lean to one side. Before gluing the piece to the base, the boat was placed in different angles. Once the position was decided, the support was glued to the base. Other pieces were glued to the base to create the waves structures. Using the knife, the pieces were carved and shaped. Since the idea was to have a calm ocean, the waves had to be made smaller to make the foam stand out. Once done, the base was covered with the joint compound. The less compound you use, the faster the dry time. Anyway, drying time will be about 24 hours. Once dry, the base was painted using white paint to seal it. If the compound is not sealed, the color paint will be absorbed and a lot of paint will be used. It was not necessary to paint the base perfectly, since top coats using Mod Podge mixed with transparent paint will give the water different tones. A problem I faced was that I did not want to leave parts off the boat, and when the boat was placed on the base, the propellers were not there, so I had to carve a hole in the base. Also, since the boat was going to be turning to one side, it was possible that the propellers will be seen in the foam, so they had to be included. A hole can be seen in a different color in the lower part of the image. While researching wave pictures, I noticed that the taller part was clearer, so aquamarine was used on the waves. The sides and the wake were also painted in this color, as the water needed to be clearer there. Once the paint was dry, the base was covered with silicone using a wood stick and a plastic spoon to spread it. Even though the silicone dries transparent, it will appear as a plastic surface and it will not look real. While the silicone was drying, the boat was placed so it would stick to the base, but I had to use masking tape to keep it in the desired position. To start modeling the foam of the wake, I used Mod Podge. Mod Podge was also used to protect the propellers, as they were too flimsy. In this step, I also started to give volume to this area. Mod Podge was also used to glue the boat in place. To simulate depth, I needed to apply coats with Mod Podge mixed with different amount of paint. The first coats will have a richer color, and the top ones less and less. I suggest that before applying the coats on the base, you can take a piece of foam worked the same way as the base and mix Mod Podge with color and apply some coats to it. The exact amounts of color and Mod Podge will vary depending on the size of the area you would like to cover. In my case, I used 4 coats. Do not use solid colors since the water will not show through and you will not be able to simulate depth. Each coat has to dry completely. You will know it's dry if there are no white parts left. It will be translucent all over. This picture was taken using flash. This one without flash. To mold the wake area was covered with Mod Podge. Then, while wet, a piece of cotton is used and strung using the toothpicks. Remember that there will be more foam on the side the boat is turning to, and this is why there is more foam on the left side. While the wake is drying, we will mold cotton on top of the waves, adding foam to the side of the wave it's coming from, traveling to the top of the wave. Mod Podge has to be applied to the top of the cotton as well, so it will dry transparent and glossy. The Mod Podge will also seal the work. Here, I am molding volume to the wake. Keep in mind that there should be more volume of splashing water in lines directly aligned to the propellers. While that part is drying, take the flexible piece of plastic and spread Mod Podge to make the side waves. Remember that the foam will travel diagonally towards the back of the boat as the boat moves forward, so mold the cotton accordingly. You do not need a lot of cotton, as more volume will be added later. The waves were not all made of foam in my idea. They had to have some bluish tone to them. So I used the extra mix left over from the last coat of Mod Podge and paint mix to create some rectangles I wanted to add to the splashing foam. Once the rectangles were dry, I glued them to the bottom of the splashing wave using Mod Podge and used more cotton and Mod Podge to cover the edges. Once dry, it was removed from the plastic and placed next to the boat to have an idea of what it would look like. Using instant glue and Mod Podge, the waves were glued to the boat. It will not be necessary to mold the curve of the waves until the Mod Podge has dried completely. Once dry, more cotton and Mod Podge was used to make the wave longer and to mold the curve. To keep the foam on the other side in its place, I used wood sticks. Once dry, you can start adding Mod Podge and cotton to create more volume. Note the bluish tint under the wave next to the boat. To make the wave appear more dramatic, more cotton and Mod Podge were added, sculpting another structure on top of the main wave. To continue with the foam the boat created as it moved forward, Mod Podge was spread onto the base. Cotton was added and covered with Mod Podge. Use the toothpicks to mold and spread the foam. Another piece of cotton was shown on the base. Mod Podge was spread in that area, and the foam was molded. The boat must have foam also on the backside, so more cotton and Mod Podge were used to add that effect. The part of the boat shown off the water must be wet, so use Mod Podge without color to simulate wetness. Mod Podge and small portions of cotton were added to make the foam on deck. To complete the project, use a polyurethane on the water to protect it. The next images show the final result. The boat was photographed in front of images of the ocean to make the images more dramatic. Wishing you the best and hoping this will be useful for your projects.